July 7th soybean update here. I came to the field that we've had corn on corn for 2 years in a row. It's tough iron chlorosis ground, some of the toughest you're going to come across. And I did put soy grain down, but wow, it is very nice and green now. It isn't maybe as far along as some of my other beans, because this is difficult to raise soybeans on compared to some ground that has more of a neutral pH, but it certainly has potential. I mean, obviously these are already in, you know, R2. I sprayed these 1 week ago for the second time because I like to start when it's in the R1, which is when you see your first flower on the soybean plant. That's the R1, R standing for reproduction, first stage of reproduction. And this one, it's got flowers all the way up here to the top. That's definitely in the R2 at this point. And R3 will be when we start to see those, a little bit of more of a pod there growing on there. I forgot a spade. This ground, it isn't real wet. We're not getting the real big rains. I mean, we got moisture, but we're not getting the real good rains. And I forgot a spade. I just want to see how they're nodulating in this ground right now. And pull it out, you're going to pull a lot of those nodules off. And so I kind of hate to do it this way, but yeah, that isn't going to work too well. But anyway, we see those. We do see they've got some good nodules on them. Matter of fact, that looks pretty good, I thought, to me. Just pulling it out, that isn't a good way to do it. Like I say, no, shouldn't do it that way. But there's lack of a spade here. I just wanted to see, you know, if they had put on some good size nodules. These are where your nitrogen is being fixed into the plant. Soybeans take a lot of nitrogen. The good thing is they take the nitrogen out of the air, and these nodules here turn it into the ammonium form that the plant can use, and feeds the plant, gives it its nitrogen. If I remember right, I think it takes about 3.5 pounds of nitrogen per bushel of soybeans per acre. So, you know, if you want a 60 bushel an acre, you know, you're going to have 200 plus pounds of nitrogen. And way for the plant to get it is this way. I know other people have tried to fertilize them with nitrogen on soybeans. Put some type of dry nitrogen down or something like that. I haven't heard anybody that's had a lot of success with that. So, but otherwise, nice looking plant. I just wish that maybe it would be a little bit further along, but actually for July 7th, I mean, this is what would be normally a really good start to this. At this point, they really start putting on more and more trifoliates. So quite happy with what I see here. Much better than 2 years ago. This one is the Mustang 20E723. It's supposed to be a fair bean for iron chlorosis, and I would say, yeah, it's doing all right as long as got your soy grain down. Here's another. I mean, we got plants. You know, you see my knee. It's about knee high here. Looking pretty well. Really look like they're flowering nicely. Full of flowers. A lot of the flowers abort off a soybean plant anyway, so more and more flowers you can get, the more potential that bean plant's going to have. So I'd say looking really good in this field. Okay, now we're across the road. Very similar type iron chlorosis situation. However, this did not have the advantage of having 2 years of corn on it before we went back into soybeans. This is strictly corn soybean rotation back and forth. This bean is not noted for being extremely great for iron chlorosis, but it is a smaller area, and so I put it down anyway, put soy grain with it. But you can see it has had a lot harder time making it through that that iron deficiency chlorosis type ground. It is putting on trifoliates, and it's coming along. You know, like I say, it'll make it out. Will it do as well for yield wise as the non-chlorosis part of the field? No, not by any measure. But with the soy grain I put down into the furrow through the planter, it kept it going, so it didn't die out, and it is coming out of it. It's getting a little greener all the time. But I'm gonna take you to the spot over across the hill here, because you can see now where I didn't put soy grain on, same bean and so forth, and then you can see the difference. Here we are on the other side of the hill. I'll show you the difference. This did not have soy grain on it. As you can see, most of this whole area is just fine, except for one little spot. What, maybe for the most part about 30 rows wide, but this is what happens, and that's probably all I'm going to get out of that bean. It's pretty much had it. Cotyledons have had it. I guess these are probably all right, but you know, for this little spot here anyway, probably about 12 rows wide, 60 feet long or so. It's kind of a small spot here. Let's go to another field, check out a couple of varieties over there I thought were kind of interesting. Now we come to a field that I just had to show you because it's just fascinating. I haven't seen this for years, and that is a soybean that can take tough iron chlorosis without soy grain. I can't remember the last time I came across one. I had a great number way back in the 90s that was a conventional that could handle iron chlorosis, nothing to it. Unfortunately, Roundup came along, that one went out, and they could never duplicate it again. Well, this is a Golden Harvest 1362, if I remember right. I gotta check my list. The problem is the numbers. They change the numbers on us constantly. Next year, I don't even plan on, I'll probably get the same beans again because they change them that fast. I cannot keep up on the numbers. But yeah, this is a Golden Harvest 1362, so a little bit earlier than what I normally plant. The first 12 rows here, I'll give you a look at them. The first 12 rows are no soy grain on. So if we count over, we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here's where it splits. Look at that side. Now here, over here is soy grain on it. Here, no soy grain. Corn soybean rotation. We're not talking 2 years of corn coming back into soybeans. We're talking this bean here has only had just 1 year corn on it, but that is absolutely amazing. I haven't seen this for years. And look at this 1362. This earlier bean, look at the growth on this stuff. I mean, that is just remarkable. Look at how it's flowered out. This thing is really flowering out nice. It's putting on nice trifoliates. Very impressed with this. As I said, I sprayed a week ago, and I had a couple of large water hemp I came across. Evidently it germinated, just popped out of the ground after I was by here the first time. And here's one of them. Pretty large boy. He's pretty curled up. Is he gonna die? Is he gonna regrow? Is he just gonna sit there? I don't know. I'm keeping my eye on it, just kind of see what happens to it. It's a learning experience as well. Okay, I came to a spot that there's about 2.5 acres here. It was alfalfa, got kind of mixed with grasses over time. Wasn't a lot of alfalfa left in that, and the grass is basically starting to take over really the alfalfa. Been in there for quite a few years. Ripped it up a couple of years back in the fall, put corn on it last year. Absolutely phenomenal. And I had only sprayed it one time, and it actually stayed really nice and clean. These beans I only sprayed one time. I didn't respray this part of the field, this 2.5 acres. And this is the Mustang. It's the 20E723. It's good for chlorosis and so forth, but supposed to be one of the top yielders anyway. If you look close enough in the camera, you'll probably see those moths are flying around for the green cloverworm. But anyway, these plants are doing really well. Our 2-stage, they're just looking really beautiful. I didn't put any inoculation on there. I was kind of hoping that bacteria was still in the soil from the alfalfa. I never really have asked how that exactly works, but I just kind of assumed. Again, wished I would have taken with a spade. I don't have one, so we're just gonna pull one out for now. I'll have to come back later and just dig one up with the spade so you can kind of see what's going on down there. They feel like they have quite a root system going down. Actually, sad to say, I didn't get a lot of nodules coming up with it, so I hope there's more nodules than that. They just come off when you pick them up. Oh, this ground is nice and muddy. They did have about 1.5 inches at one time, and now back to about another 1/2 inch just a few days ago. But I hope there's more nodules on those than that, because I didn't put any inoculant on it. And maybe it doesn't have, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to come back with a spade and see, but otherwise really nice plant. I've really got some nice plants going. I'm just hoping that it's able to convert to bring nitrogen into that plant. Nice thing about soybeans, they're kind of an interesting plant because they really make their own nitrogen, and they take a lot of nitrogen. So the more nodules you have, the more chance of it fixing more nitrogen for the plant into the ammonia form, so it can take it up and use it. So it just takes it out of the atmosphere, right out of the air. It's kind of a neat system, really, when you think about it. Kind of a fascinating plant. I love raising corn, but I also like raising soybeans. I love raising wheat, but unfortunately wheat is not a moneymaker in this area, and so you gotta leave that up to the guys that can make it work in other areas of the Midwest or to the west of here. So but these are really looking nice. I mean, beans sure look nice. Okay, we're on a home place here now, and this is the last field we're going to be looking at. Talking about these nodules, that's what I was talking about. You see those little bumpy things on there? And that's where it's actually taking in the nitrogen from in the atmosphere and putting it into the ammonia state so the plant can use it. And look at those roots. And those roots going way down into the soil. Looks fantastic. We're talking, you know, these beans, this is the Brevant 182. We're fully into the our 2-stage without question. So, you know, I'm glad I got all my herbicide on and so forth, because right now I don't really like to spray them if I don't have to afterwards. To finish up this video, I'm going to show you one last thing. And it's might be kind of interesting to you. But right along on my headlands, I have something different happening here. See how beautiful the soybeans are as you're walking along here? Look how nice they're filling in, and then all of a sudden, what happened? You know, why are these beans dying out? Why are these got so much herbicide injury on them? And I've got spots. You see that as you go along here? There's spots, some good, some not. Is it from the herbicides I used on the soybeans? Not at all. Is it from last year on the corn herbicide carryover? Not at all. However, it is herbicide injury. Well, right over here, I put my manure pile right here. I had it there for a year composting. As you can see, the beans actually started to grow and they die out. And what happens is, as the township, they want to spray the ditches. They use, you know, something formulation similar to like Curtail or Milestone, something like that, but it doesn't break down fast enough, and so it stays on that grass. Even after it goes through an animal, it can get into the manure. The grass that's left over mixed with the manure and so forth all comes on this pile, and that's why I compost it and break all that stuff down so it's more like black dirt when I go to spread it out. And I wasn't using a spreader, that's why it's lumped. See, there's a lump over there too, because I just don't have that much, so I don't use a spreader. I just kind of push it around, take the drag and drag it out. But that stuff was a year old when I put it into this pile. Then it sat in this pile composting, and even after that still have herbicide injury. If I would have put corn here, I'd have been just fine. It reminded me, now I knew that might be a potential. However, I was thinking, because 2 years had basically gone by, that maybe that had broke down through the process of just being stored in the manure pile and so forth. Found out, nope, it didn't. So normally I put it right before I do the corn. If you do that, it doesn't affect the corn at all. So then you come back the next year with the beans, by then it's all broke down. Just thought you might find that kind of interesting. Sometimes you'll find a spot like that in the field and you wonder, hey, what happened here? Well, that's exactly what happened right there. Had to do with the manure from backing all the way up to when I baled up the ditches, and still had that carryover herbicide on it. So until next time, we'll go back to doing a corn update after it is tasseled out, and we'll see about whether we decide to put on that Coron, whether we decide to put on a fungicide, especially on the corn and corn. We'll find that out next time. So until then, stay safe and have a great day.